Ladies, before you dive into another weight loss program, I need you to pause and listen. If you have tried every diet and workout plan and still feel stuck, you have overlooked a missing piece: stress. It's not just a small factor, it is the invisible force that could be sabotaging your progress without you even realizing it. Just think about it. You're juggling everything: kids, marriage, work, the house. It feels like a never ending roller coaster. You wake up exhausted, power through the day on coffee, and collapse on the couch at night, frustrated and wondering why nothing is working. But it's not just the weight, is it? It's the exhaustion, the constant anxiety, and the sense that you're always running on empty. Stress doesn't just drain your energy, it keeps your body in fight and flight mode, blocking the very progress you're working so hard to achieve. But here's the truth: until you tackle your stress, no diet or exercise plan will give you the results you want. So let's uncover exactly how stress is affecting your body and how you can take back control. So here's what happens when you're stressed. Your body sends a signal to release cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol's job is to keep you in survival mode. This sounds great until you realize what that means. So your body holds onto fat, especially around your belly, because it thinks you're in danger and might need extra energy later. But on top of that, cortisol increases your craving for sugary, high carb foods. Those quick fixes that make you feel good at the moment, but sabotage you later. So if you have ever reached for chocolate or chips after a long day and thought, why can't I stop? Understand, it might be cortisol. But stress doesn't just mess with your body, but your mind. You are running on fumes, trying to keep everyone happy and feeling like you are failing because you're not on top of things. Now you are dealing with the guilt and the emotional eating, the feeling that no matter how hard you try, you are still falling short. But do you want to hear the truth? God didn't create us to live this way. Stress, being overwhelmed, being burnt out are not part of His plan for our life. In fact, the Bible gives us practical, powerful tools to survive and thrive even in the chaos. And so today I want to spend this time to share 5 biblical principles that can help you reduce stress and find the peace and joy you have been looking for. These are the same principles I use in my own life to avoid burnout and stay strong when things get tough. But the Bible did tell us to expect challenges. They are just part of life. But here's the good news: we don't have to let those challenges overwhelm us. That is why it's so important to have tools and systems in place to help us respond well when life gets hard. We can handle difficulties with strength and confidence when we follow God's guidance, knowing we are more than conquerors. But before we dive into those transformative principles, let's talk about the idea of principles themselves, why they matter and how they work. Principles are universal truth, but here's the key: they don't discriminate. They apply to everyone, everywhere, no matter your age, your background, or your current situation. When you align your life with a principle, you align with how God designed things to work. So just think of it this way. Imagine assembling a piece of furniture with the manual in front of you. If you follow the instructions, everything works as expected, right? But if you try forcing pieces together or skipping steps, what happens? The end result is frustrating, right? And the furniture doesn't function as it should. It's the same with life. God, as our creator, has given us a manual, His word, to guide us through the complexities of life. When we follow His principles, things fall into place. When we ignore them, stress, anxiety, and even burnout can take over. But the good part is that God's principles aren't burdensome, they are liberating. They bring clarity, peace, and direction to the chaos. In Matthew 11:29-30, Jesus invites us to take His yoke upon us, saying, My yoke is easy and my burden is light. The word yoke here from the Greek zygon represents his teaching and way of life, which are perfectly suited to us, not to oppress, but to guide and strengthen. This yoke isn't about adding more to your already filled plate, it is about walking in partnership with him, where he helps you carry the load. His yoke is Christos, kind, fitting, and life giving. It is an invitation to let go of the world's heavy, exhausting demands and embrace his rest. A complete renewal that refreshes you from the inside out. This deep refreshment smooths your soul, restores your energy, and gives you the lasting relief from stress and the constant pressure to keep thriving. So the principles we are going to explore today follow this same idea. They are not about piling on more obligations. They are about simplifying your life, helping you reset and rediscover what truly matters. God's way of living align your effort with his purpose, bringing you peace and renewal instead of stress and burnout. So are you ready? Let's explore the first principle. So I want to encourage you to grab a Bible, a notebook, or just settle in because I believe this is going to speak directly to your heart. Principle number one, the Sabbath rest. So let's start with something that we all often overlook, rest. In Exodus 20, God doesn't casually suggest rest. He commands it. He says, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. Exodus 20:8-10. Why would God, who created and knows us intimately, include rest in his top 10 commandments? Because he knows we can't function properly without it. The Sabbath isn't just about taking a day off or watching Netflix on the couch. It is about disconnecting from work, worry, and thriving so that our bodies, minds, and spirit can recover. When we honor the Sabbath, we are doing more than obeying a command. We are embracing a rhythm of life that God designed specifically for our well-being. So modern science has confirmed what God has always known. There are so many tangible benefits to rest. It lowers cortisol levels. Chronic stress keeps cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, elevated. Over time, this can lead to weight gain, insomnia, anxiety, and even a weakened immune system. Rest lowers cortisol's levels, allowing your body to repair and recharge. It increases awareness. Taking a break lets you step back and gain a fresh perspective on your life and priorities. In these moments of pause, you can reflect on what is working and identify areas that need improvement. Breaks help you tune into your emotions, environment, and relationships, making it easier to make intentional decisions. It improves brain function. Your brain thrives on rest, boosting your focus, creativity, and even problem-solving skills. When you give your mind a chance to relax, it becomes more efficient at retaining information and coming up with innovative ideas. So if you're not convinced as yet on the importance of rest, let's look at what rest can mean for your family. Running from activity to activity will not strengthen your marriage or your relationship with your children. It is the fundamentals, time together, emotional connection, and shared values. Taking intentional steps to rest isn't just important, it is essential for a thriving family dynamic. Now let me help you imagine what embracing the principle of rest can mean for your family. In today's world where screens often compete for our attention, a day of rest can become a sacred opportunity to reconnect as a family. Instead of everyone scrolling or rushing to the next obligation, you can use this time to take a peaceful walk, share meaningful conversation, or enjoy a distraction-free meal. These simple moments create lasting memories and strengthen the bonds between parents and children. Now, stress affects family dynamics, often leading to misunderstanding and unnecessary conflict. When everyone runs on empty, patience wears thin, and snapping at each other becomes the norm. Rest offers the gift of emotional renewal, allowing each family member to recharge and approach one another with patience, kindness, and understanding. This reset can transform your home environment into one that is peaceful and supportive. By prioritizing rest, you are sending a powerful message to your children about what truly matters in life. You are teaching them that life isn't just about productivity, achievement, or keeping up with the world's pace. Instead, it is about worship, connection, and family. This modeling helps children grow up with a healthier perspective on work and rest, equipping them with values that will guide them into adulthood. Rest isn't just a pause, it is a chance to realign your family with what's most important. It becomes an anchor grounding your family in faith, love, and intentionality. When children grow up in a home where rest is valued, they learn that relationships flourish not through busyness, but through presence and purpose. Taking time to rest isn't just about restoring energy, it is about nurturing your marriage, deepening the connection with your children, and modeling a way of life that brings peace and joy. By embracing rest, you are building a legacy of stronger families and healthier children. Now, growing up, my family didn't celebrate the Sabbath in the traditional sense, but I still remember Friday nights vividly. My mother always ensured that my sister and I came together for a little church at home. No, I wouldn't lie. I used to give her a really hard time back then because I didn't want to meet. But looking back, I have come to appreciate the values she was trying to instill in us. She taught us the importance of putting God first in our life and showing care for others. I remember us praying for people together and even collecting an offering. That money was used to help people in need. And up to this day, I still remember those moments because they made a lasting impression on my life. So I'm thinking that at this moment you're wondering, now how on earth am I going to incorporate Sabbath into my life? The truth is, it can feel overwhelming if you're not used to observing it. But here is how you can ease into it. And notice I said ease. Start small. You don't have to dive into a complete 24-hour Sabbath immediately. Start with a half day where you unplug from work and spend intentional time with God and your loved ones. You have to prepare ahead. One reason people struggle to rest is because they feel behind on their to-do list. Prepare for your Sabbath by doing errands, meal prep, or household chores the day before. Imagine it as laying a foundation for a smooth and peaceful day of rest. You have to set boundaries. Decide what your Sabbath will and wouldn't include. For example, you might commit to no emails, social media, or household work. Replace those activities with prayer, Bible study, or simply enjoying God's creation. Most importantly, give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up if you slip into old habits. Rest is a practice, not a performance. God will honor your effort to draw near to Him. Finally, remember that Sabbath rest isn't just about physical restoration. It is about spiritual renewal. It is a day to reflect on God's goodness, lay aside your burdens at His feet, and listen for His voice. When we rest as God designed, we don't just restore our bodies, we restore our relationship with Him. So let me ask you, what would it take to set aside one day or part of a day to fully rest and enjoy God's presence? A time where you're not rushing or thriving or worrying. A time where you feel lighter, more connected, and completely renewed. That's the gift God is offering you through Sabbath rest. Would you accept it? So now let's look at principle number 2, casting our burdens. Stress can feel like carrying an invisible backpack loaded with worry, fear, and responsibility. Over time, the weight accumulates until it feels unbearable. But here's the good news. God doesn't want us to carry those burdens alone. He invites us to offload them onto Him. In 1 Peter 5:7, we are told, cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. To truly grasp the depth of this principle, let's break it down. The word cast in the original Greek is everito, which means to throw or hurl something with force. It's not a gentle handover, it is an intentional, decisive act of transferring something heavy to another. The word is also used in Luke 19:35, when the disciples threw their clothes onto the donkey for Jesus to ride. It implies a complete relinquishment of control. Once you cast something, it is no longer yours to carry. So God's invitation to cast all burdens on Him isn't just a suggestion. It is a powerful, practical tool for managing stress. When we hold on to anxiety, we are essentially saying, I've got this. I'll figure it out on my own. But that's not how God designed us. God, in His infinite wisdom, knows that our human capacity is limited. He cares for us so deeply that He invites us to release our worries. But what does the science say about this principle? Stress activates the body's fight or flight response, causing a cascade of physiological changes, increased heart rate, elevated cortisol levels, and a state of heightened alertness. Over time, chronic stress can lead to weakened immune function, higher risk of heart disease, cognitive decline and memory issues, sleep disturbances, emotional exhaustion. Studies have shown that practices like prayer, meditation, and expressing gratitude has measurable effects on stress reduction. Prayer has been linked to lower blood pressure, improved mental health, and even better problem-solving skills. When we release our stress to God, our brains stop producing as much cortisol, the stress hormone, and begin making more oxytocin, the feel-good hormone. In Hebrew culture, the concept of shalom, peace, completeness, and wholeness is not merely the absence of conflict, but a profound sense of well-being that flows from trusting God fully. This trust is at the heart of what it means to cast your burdens on Him. When you surrender your worries and anxieties to Him, you declare, I believe you will care for me better than I can care for myself. In Philippians 4:7, Paul writes, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. You are stepping into this divine shalom when you cast your burdens on God. You are letting go of the weight you were never meant to carry and allowing God's peace to fill the space once occupied by stress, fear, and worry. This peace isn't dependent on circumstances. It surpasses human understanding because it comes from a God who is infinite, faithful, and sovereign. The Greek word used for guard in Philippians 4:7, fuel, paints a vivid picture of God's peace, acting as a soldier standing watch over your heart and mind. As shalom brings wholeness and harmony, this peace actively protects your inner world, keeping it from being overwhelmed by chaos and anxiety. I don't know about you, but that gets me really excited. When we accept God's peace, it protects us from everything that is happening around us. But how can you go about casting your burdens on God? First of all, I want to encourage you to identify your burdens. Take a moment to reflect. What is weighing on you? Is it financial strain, relationship challenges, or the pressure to meet everyone's expectation? Just write them down. Pray with intentionality. Remember the meaning of cast. Don't just mention your burdens to God. Release them with intention. Prayer. Lord, I am handing this over to you. I trust you will provide guidance and peace. Now, this step is important. Replace your worry with God's truth. Fill the mental space with scripture after casting your burdens. Meditate on verses like Matthew 11:28-30, where Jesus said, come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Practice gratitude. Once you cast your burdens, acknowledge the blessings in your life. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, fostering peace and joy. So don't think just because you hand over something to God, that's it. Because worries sometimes creep back in. So this has to be a daily process. Remind yourself daily of 1 Peter 5:7 whenever worries creep back in. And then recommit those things to God. I think the exciting part about this process is when you cast your burdens on God, it is not only you that will benefit. Your family will notice the difference. You are more present, patient, and loving when you are less stressed. Your relationships thrive because you're no longer operating from a place of depletion, but from one of peace and renewal. As a parent, your actions speak way louder than words. When you cast your burdens on God, you are not just taking steps towards your peace, you are laying a foundation of faith for your children. Your behavior becomes a living example of what it means to trust God in the face of life challenges. This kind of modeling is incredibly impactful as children often learn more from what they observe than what they are told. When your children see you turn to God with your worries, they learn where to take their own struggle. You are showing them that they don't have to rely solely on their strength or carry their burdens alone. Instead of defaulting to fear, anxiety, or even unintentional coping mechanism, they will understand that God is their refuge. This creates a spiritual reflex in them, a habit of seeking God first in times of need. Children are incredibly perceptive. They can sense when you are stressed, worried, or overwhelmed. When you demonstrate casting your burdens on God, you give them a sense of security. They will witness firsthand that even in difficult times, there is a source of strength and stability greater than any problem. This builds their emotional resilience and helps them feel safe, knowing that you rely on God. But not only that, your example opens the door for a deeper conversation about faith and trust. When your children see you pray about a specific challenge or hear you express gratitude for God's guidance, it creates opportunities to discuss their worries and how they too can seek God's help. These moments can build a stronger spiritual bond within your family. So ask yourself, what burdens can I throw onto God today? This act of trust, repeated daily, can transform your stress into peace and your chaos into clarity. God cares for you deeply and personally. Let Him shoulder the weight and watch how your life changes.